Hi guys, it's Justin.Swift here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I will finally be unboxing Wave 4 of the Creeproductions featuring Rochelle, Music Flytrap, and Robecca. As you can tell, I am a big fan of Monster High and especially a big fan of the Creeproductions. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing and then I'll explain what I'll be doing later on. And here are these ghouls out of box. So starting off with Robecca, she has some pretty nice box here, but it is pretty frizzy, so we are just going to be curling it in this video. And then moving on to Venus, she has polypropylene sadly, but do not worry, I will be giving a tutorial on how I fix it. She is really pretty, kind of wall-eyed though. And then here on with Rochelle, her hair is pretty nice, it's kind of sticky, but that's just how Saran is. And she also has some pretty thick things, like oh my, it's not as bad as like Charm's Jade, but still pretty thick. Alright, and now I'll be taking y'all to the sink where all the magic happens. So here is what I'll be using for today's video. Now obviously we're going to need a comb for one detangling, and I'll be using Garnier's Sleek and Shine shampoo and conditioner. Now this is a 2-pack that I got at Target. Along with that, I'll be using a kettle when boil washing, and please do not wash Venus's side shave. Starting off with Rochelle, as she has the easiest hairstyle out of everybody else here today. Right now, I am sectioning out her bang area away from the rest of her hair, that way it'll be more easier for when I start flattening out the bangs. And then I'm going to start off by moving her hair away from the forehead, and then I'm going to start gelling the forehead, which does sound weird because it's not the hair itself. But after I do this, I then laid the bangs over the forehead, and then I start combing it to my liking, making sure the placement is perfect. That way, once it dries, it'll be perfect, because once it dries, you can't comb it out or else it's gonna be like floofy and messy all over again. And once you have the bangs to your perfect placement, we are going to get a saran wrap and put it over the heads. And this is basically just a Ziploc bag tied around to the back, adjusted to the size of like a Monster High head. And we are going to let this dry overnight before we can finish cutting the bangs and then being done. Now moving on to Venus. Oh my goodness, this took so much work. Like I started from 11 p.m. and I didn't finish till like 1:30. But when I was washing Venus's hair, I only did shampoo and conditioner, no boil wash, because whenever, or at least from my experience, whenever I boil poly, like the ends always turn out super frizzy, so I just avoid it at all costs. And either way, it doesn't really matter if you're gonna be flat ironing it. But now when I'm flat ironing her, I only do 2 rows per section. That way I can get the best results, as I want it to be as straight as possible. And the flat iron I use does not have any heat settings, so I am constantly turning it on and off. And along with this, now I'm about to say something that I don't really recommend, but I did not spray any water throughout Venus's hair while flat ironing her, which is probably something that's like kind of dangerous. I'm kind of low-key playing with fire with that because I could burn the doll's hair off very easily, which has happened in the past. But for this one, I didn't have any struggle. But if this is like one of the first times you're flat ironing a doll's hair, I would recommend the spray water just to be safe. And now, saving the most for last, here we have Robecca. So we are going to be doing a very similar thing to how I did Glinda's hair in my Wicked video from 2 videos back. So right now I'm just running a thin layer of gel throughout her hair, not too much since we're going to be applying way more sooner. So currently I am sectioning out the bank piece for both sides, and then I'm going to be putting a whole ton of gel in there, just making sure it's pretty rock solid since we do not want these curls to drop, since Saran has a tendency to drop like because of gravity or whatever. So right now we're going to need 3 straws for this, 1 regular one and then 2 cut up. So right now we're just going to get a random spot on the hair and then kind of wrap it around a cut up straw like how you normally do a curl, and then you're going to slide it all the way to the bottom, all the way to the ends, and then we're going to start rolling it all the way up till we get to where we want the hair or where we want the curl to start. So right now I'm doing it right where the eye ends, and that's where I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to get the cut up straw again, or another one, wrap it around again, and then I'm going to get a bobby pin. Now do not worry if you do not have like enough to do this. I just did it for the front pieces because I want those curls to look pretty neat, but once we continue on the back, right now I'm going to get an end paper, and by end paper I mean a napkin. I'll show you right here. I get a napkin and then I just cut it up to the size that it can roll up to a straw and not be like overlaying, or it's not like too much, and then I'm going to spray a bunch of water on it just to make sure it's pretty wet. And now we're going to be doing the same steps, but in this time we do not need an extra cut up straw, we just need an end paper instead. So get the straw, slide it all the way to the bottom, start rolling it up, and then you're going to get your end paper and then slide it in with a bobby pin. Now it does make the curl more messy, but don't worry, we will fix that later when we're styling. After waiting overnight, I am finally taking out Rebecca's curls. So right now I'm not doing any styling just because I know if I do it now, I'm going to mess it up just because there's still a bunch of curls in the hair. I will say though, the hair is a slightly damp, not obviously wet to the point where it's like dripping, but it is a little wet, mainly just because the curlers were so tight and close to each other that it was really hard for the hair to dry. So after this, I am going to put it in a hairnet. As you can see, I'm finally able to take all the curlers out, and I'm just going to put a whole ton of hairspray in just to make sure it holds its shape even more. And then after I'm done putting it in the hairnet, I'm going to dress Rochelle and Venus, and then we are going to proceed. And after giving Robecca some time to dry, we can finally resume on her curls. So right now I'm just taking her hairnet out, and because these curls are pretty dry at this point, they are low-key rock solid. So we're going to mix some water in just to make sure they're semi-soft for when we brush them out. Now you can brush them out anyway. You can brush them out from the root to the end or from the ends to the roots. I personally do roots to the ends. This is just so the curls won't get super matted while we're brushing them out, because we don't want to struggle while we're doing this. We want the curls to look nice in the end, and there's gonna be like a bunch of flyaways if you don't mix some water in. So right now I'm just brushing it out, and I'm gonna finger curl it afterwards. Now if it doesn't, if the curl does not stay its shape after finger curling it, just get an eyebrow comb and start wrapping the curl around the eyebrow comb, like the wand of it, and it'll go back to normal. Now I'm going to be doing this around the head, and then once I'm done, I'm going to be combing out the roots of the head, just making sure everything is laid up at the top, and then afterwards I may separate a few curls or may combine a few curls just to reduce volume. And here is the trio all done. So we are going to start with Robecca first, since she was the one that I was like most worried on. So here is Rebecca's scene. She looks gorgeous if I do say so myself. She's probably like one of the best Creeproductions along with Torlai. I did a similar curling method to what I did with my Glinda, if you remember that from my Wicked video. I did let the curls dry overnight rather than just styling it immediately after being boil washed, which definitely helped as the curls are way more tighter, as you can see. I also did this method along with my Claudine and my Laguna, which I will be showing off when I do my collection video soon. Next up is Venus, which everybody is loving on my Twitter and my Instagram right now. I've been doing this flat ironing method for a while now. I did do it in my Spectra video, which was like my first all hair wash video, which is a mess. If you want like a good flat iron tutorial, I hope you watch this one. I'm really happy about how she turned out. Her hair is so straight, oh my goodness. I was really worried with it being poly that it'd be very voluminous, but honestly it does not look like she has a helmet on her head. I mean, a little bit on the side, but that's mainly because of it being a side shape. And last but not least, we have Rochelle. She was the most simple one to do, as all we did was give her a boil wash and then we just styled her bangs. I did trim them off camera just because trimming is like a lot of detail. We're gonna have to go like really close, so it probably wouldn't have been good to show off. My goal was to try to make her screening look a little bit more pleasant to look at, since I know it is so different to see compared to the original. I think that's the problem with like Creeproductions. I mean, they look really pretty, but it's just like when you compare them to the original, it's like you'd want the original more, but obviously these ones are way more better in quality and like longevity. Yeah, and longevity. And now I'm going to show you how they look on display. And here's them all up on display. Now I couldn't have asked for a better result, as I am so happy with how they turned out. But here's them up on the shelf along with my Wave 3 ghouls, as you've seen from my videos from last year. And then here is them with my Wave 1 and Wave 2 set of Creeproductions. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time for my updated collection tour. Bye!